Alrighty. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is BDF44 coming at you with another video. Alright. Phoenix Suns win game 2 of the NBA Finals. Um, I came to you guys at halftime and kind of went on a rant about how I think Chris Middleton needs to leave Milwaukee because he's not going to get consistent touches on this team going forward. As long as they continue to play the way that they do through Giannis, I think they're going to be at a disadvantage in a lot of playoff series. During the regular season, it works, but when it's time to zone in and kind of figure out what your team is doing from game to game and kind of use strategy against you, Giannis is one of those players that make it easy to strategize against him because of how his style of play is and how limited he is and how many touches he actually gets. Too many empty possessions for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. They didn't have a consistent Chris Middleton. He did finally have that bad game that I knew was coming. But I now understand why those games happen. It's because he doesn't get consistent touches. He'll have possessions, maybe 3-4 possessions at a time where he won't touch the ball. And it's usually because Giannis is controlling it and doing something with it that either gets him to the free throw line, turns it into an offensive foul, or gets an easy bucket. It's kind of how it works. And it's hard to watch. I'm not going to lie. This is exactly what I was saying, but it can make it so that the Milwaukee Bucks get further than they would without him, simply because of what he does for you. Rebounds, defends, and scores easy. So, you live and die with Giannis, but I would caution Budenholzer going forward in this series of letting that happen. It's a mistake that the Milwaukee Bucks make every year in the playoffs. It's living and dying with this guy. It does not work. You need more team play around him in the playoffs. You need to become less predictable. And that's one of the things I've credited Budenholzer with being is unpredictable because you really don't know what he's going to do from game to game. But you can definitely be certain what Giannis is going to do from game to game because it's always the same thing. He had 42 and 13 tonight, so he was obviously fantastic. But you look at Middleton had 11. You look at Holiday, he didn't have that kind of game. You look at the guys around him, and they're not playing as well as they do without him, and that's the point. I don't need Giannis to go for 42 and 13 if I'm losing. We only score like 90 points or something like that, and everybody else on the team is cold. Then when he sits down, we get great performances out of people like Brook Lopez with 33. Brook Lopez can never get 33 points with Giannis on the floor. You know, the type of aggression we saw out of Drew Holiday constantly getting to the line. Dude, you're not going to get that with Giannis on the floor. What you're going to have is possessions with Giannis touching the ball and you living and dying with him, and he's not good enough of a player for that. I'm sorry. Flat, point blank, period. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or mean. I respect Giannis as a player and as a person. I know his background. It's like I don't want to be that guy, but some things are just unfreaking deniable. And the fact of the matter is, the Milwaukee Bucks players around Giannis need to be featured more. If they're going to win this series, they need to be the featured more than him. Period. I understand how much he does for you, but it just doesn't work against this Phoenix Suns team in this series like that. You need to play Middleton as if he's the number one guy. And let Giannis get in where he fits in. I really believe that's the only chance the Bucks are going to have to win this series, because we see this every year. You live and die with Giannis. You're going to die with Giannis. You're not going to live with Giannis. Period. Devin Booker was fantastic, 31 points this evening. Chris Paul was good, but he coughed the ball over in some real weird ways down the stretch of the game, and I felt like those are the type of turnovers where if you're going up against a Kobe Bryant, you're going up against, say, remember that game we all know about T-Mac when he went off for like 4 straight threes in 1 minute? Those are the type of mistakes that give those guys opportunities to do amazing things. And even though the Milwaukee Bucks didn't have that type of performance out of anybody tonight, Chris Paul opened the door for such an opportunity to happen. He was very, very fortunate tonight to not be going up against one of those killers. That's what I will say. Because he was doing stuff out there down the stretch that I would say is the equivalent to losing focus. And you remember Steph Curry kind of throwing the ball behind his back in the finals, just completely threw the ball away. I think it was against Cleveland Cavaliers one year or something. Just like a really, really important possession. And he just threw the ball behind his back and went straight out of bounds, didn't touch anybody. It was just a very bonehead, almost choke type turnover. And that's kind of what I was sensing out of Chris Paul. I know he hasn't had a lot of success in this league. And I know when you're this close to success, sometimes it's like it's hard to believe that it's actually happening. Maybe you maybe aren't even believing that it's happening. Sometimes it can force you into mistakes that will you toward failure. And that's kind of what I was sensing a little bit out there. But it's not going to be remembered. It's not going to be matter because they won the game. And this is a minute point. But it's just one of those things that I point out and I pay attention to, because if this series happens, let's say the Milwaukee Bucks go back to Milwaukee with both games. If he continues to do stuff like this, it could cost him a game in the series that, and obviously every game, every possession is important. So that's just something I pay attention to. Chris Paul, embrace the success, man. You're up 2-0 in the playoffs, in the finals rather. Embrace the success. It's time for you to win. Shore up the basketball. You're at your best when your team is not turning over the basketball. You guys blow people out and impress the hell out of us when you and Cam Payne are not turning over the basketball. That's the best play. That's the best recipe for the Phoenix Suns. So what I saw out of there, them 6 turnovers, half of them unforced. Some of them just looked like he was just not there. That's something I'm sure he's going to shore up and he's going to pay attention to. When he sees the film, he'll know exactly what I'm referring to. Ayton was good tonight. He didn't have a big scoring night, but he rebounded the ball just like he wanted to. He was a thorn in the Bucks side all night. They had no answer for that. Mikal Bridges, my guy, he finally had a Mikal Bridges game. A game where he could put his stamp on and say, this is the one in the NBA Finals. You know who I am because I had a game like this. He went off. He didn't shoot the 3 as well as he would like to. His 3 has been inconsistent in these playoffs. But he was getting to the line. He was hitting most of his shots, doing what he needs to do, mid-range stuff, making assists, getting rebounds, putting himself in positions to be defensive player as usual. Definitely a fantastic game for Mikal Bridges tonight. He really shined this evening. Cam Johnson looked really good as well in the moments that I saw him out there, still doing the things that I like to see. Shooting the 3 consistently, stealing the ball, being active defensively. Same out of Cam Payne. He wasn't really featured this evening, but when I did see him out there, he stood out. He was making good decisions, had a real nice strip, that kind of thing you love to see. So now we got to talk about injuries for Phoenix, because now they just got hit with another hard, tough blow. Torrey Craig, guy who was actually playing very well, had just hit a 3 in that game right before this happened, but he was, once again, Giannis barreling into people, as I've told you he does. I said it several times. Guys like Torrey Craig and Cam Johnson, etc., they're going to have to get used to Giannis, kind of coming at them, and that's exactly what happened tonight. Torrey Craig got in a position where he was trying to draw an offensive foul, and Giannis' knee slammed right into his knee at an angle, and it knocked him down. He wasn't able to get up on his own. That looked like a very serious injury, to be honest with you. Not only because of how his knee buckled, but unfortunately because of who it was. Giannis is obviously not a normal human being, so if his knee crashes into your knee, chances are your knee is going to get the worst of it. And that's exactly what happened out there. I don't expect Torrey Craig to be back. At best, that's a really bad knee bruise, bone bruise at best. So we'll see what we're looking at. Hopefully he'll be all right. But most important thing is another power forward down for the Suns. I believe it was Jeff Van Gundy who pointed it out and said, going forward, this is going to be something to pay attention to, because they are getting a lot of minutes going to some of these players. Now they're going to be kind of down 2 power forwards, so you're going to see a lot more Frank Kaminsky, but the majority of this is going to be coming out of Jay Crowder and Bridges, Jayon Johnson, etc. They're going to have to make up the minutes for now 2 lost power forwards. This does not bode well, because obviously Giannis is a power forward, and I said at the beginning of this, they don't have an answer for Giannis. As much as I've been talking about him and how this, that, and the third, he's the biggest mismatch out there for the Milwaukee Bucks to take advantage of. They simply don't have anybody out there on the Sun side of things that can really do anything with him other than maybe Ayton. Um, and then that is the bottom line. So no Torrey Craig, no Dario Saric. That's even less than what you had before to guard the man. So uh, Game 3 is going to be extremely important for both teams. More so than your average Game 3. Because obviously the Milwaukee Bucks can't go down 0-3. But the Phoenix Suns are in a space where if they start dropping games and this series starts to stretch out, they're going to start, this fatigue is going to start being a thing. Further injuries are going to start being a thing with guys playing more minutes. And, you know, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're happy if you're a Suns fan from a standpoint of this. You don't want to see nobody get hurt. But if you have to pick the people you want to not see hurt, so far so good. Put it like that. But the problem is the players that you're losing are key pieces. Key to your defense, key to your rebounding, key to positions, key to your rotation, staying intact, etc. Now that those two guys are out, this is going to be a very serious strain on this Phoenix Suns team. They have to win Game 3 too, man. Because let's say they lose Game 3, 2-1. What happens in Game 4? Maybe they win that game. Maybe they don't. You know, even if they win that game, you're up 3-1, headed back to Phoenix. Now you're looking at a situation with a Milwaukee Buck team that plays strong. Giannis, who's getting more and more healthy. They're playing with their back against the wall. And now you've got more and more games to play with less bodies. That means more tired for older guy like more times of getting tired for a guy like Ayton, who's had fantastic conditioning all series. Now he's going to be looking at you're going to be looking at him and saying, man, if we're in the 7th game, what is he going to have for us? You're looking at a situation where you're looking at a guy like Cam Johnson. He's playing great, looks good, but he's had some banged up little knick-knack injuries in these playoffs. Is he going to be able to hold up himself? These are the questions that you have to start asking. And what happens if we lose another player? What happens if we start having foul trouble early with a guy like Ayton? How do we win a game like that? So these are the type of things. I'm looking at a guy like PJ Tucker, Milwaukee. I'm looking at a guy like Brook Lopez. I'm looking at Giannis, and I'm saying it's time to turn up. If I'm Milwaukee, even though we're down 0-2, the confidence is in. If this series drags out, we have a better chance of closing them out than they will if the series drags out. That's what I'm trying to say. In other words, the longer the series goes, the further it plays into Milwaukee's hands because they are the healthier team at this point. They have more bodies to throw down there. And so that's going to be a kind of a secret concern for a guy like Monty Williams. I don't think it's going to be something they talk about too much when you're up 2-0, but trust you me, Game 3, they would be wise to put an emphasis on this game like they have their back against the wall, because if you get a chance to go up 3-0 on this series, it's over. I'm telling Milwaukee don't come back from that. Even if they win 2 games, they're not going to win 4 straight against you after losing 3 straight. That's not happening. So Game 3 for me is the most important game of the series thus far for both teams. Phoenix need to come in with the type of intensity, make sure that their game travels on the road. Obviously, we're going to be looking for guys like Middleton to bounce back at home. Holiday's going to have to bounce back at home. You know, they didn't play their best game tonight. We expect better from them with a little home cooking to get back down there with that Deer District. I expect them to play better, but, you know, Giannis, go back and listen to my video. Go back and listen to some of these other videos, and you'll get an understanding of where I'm at with Giannis. I think he's a phenomenal athlete, an easy bucket getter, a defensive dynamo, damn good passer. He has a lot of good things about him, you know, good character, you know. But I just do not think the greatest of him as a skills basketball player. And because of it, I literally hate the idea of living and dying with him. I hate it. I hate it. I would rather live and die with Middleton. I think because Middleton is a pure scorer, a shooter with unbelievable form that Giannis can do all the stuff that Giannis does, but Middleton needs to be featured. If you feature Middleton like you're featuring Giannis and let Giannis play off of Middleton like Middleton plays off of Giannis, your team will be better for it. Giannis is much more effective. It's not a secret, because if you give him the ball a million times, you can get a million good things happening for you. But you can also have a lot of turnovers. You can have a lot of offensive foul situations. You can have him ultimately taking possessions out of the other player's hands on his team, for whom need those touches. Feature Middleton, and you'll get back in the series. I'm telling you. And it's no disrespect to Giannis. I think Giannis is fantastic. But you can't have him be the guy that catches the ball in these ISO situations in the half court and expect to have any success. I'm sorry. He ain't that guy. He don't have them type of skills. They're not there. He dribbles too high. He needs to lower his dribble. He needs to work on his hip movement as it pertains to dribbling, so he can get around people. He's fantastic at spin moves and pirouettes, but he relies too much on his length and his height to carry him. If he were an average height player, if he had like average body type, he wouldn't be in the NBA. That's how serious this is for me, in my opinion. This is how serious this is. This is how intense this opinion is. I don't think Giannis could even be in the league if he didn't have the body he has. Period. He relies too much on it. And he needs to take, just like Ben Simmons, Giannis needs to do the same thing. Get with one of these skills guys, one of these super skills coaches, pay dude $1 million, and work with him for 5 or 6 summers straight, bro, on nothing but skills. Dribbling, shooting, post moves, spin moves, step backs, Euro steps, which he's already pretty good at. But those are the things that Giannis needs to get better at. Those are the things that will make it so that he's not such a liability to the teammates that he plays with. And he will be able to take advantage of people continuing to defend him like he's such a liability. You know? He can start to take people by storm over the next several years, to where, oh crap, now Giannis got a jumper. Oh crap, now Giannis can do a little step back. Oh man, now you know what I mean? You ain't got to turn to James Harden or Kyrie Irving, but he does need to get better at those things if he's going to hold the ball as much as he does. Because I'm telling you, I truly felt like the Milwaukee Bucks could have won that game tonight if they would have just did what I said just now. Feature Middleton, because he didn't have it going, but it was only because he wasn't getting consistent possessions in his favor. And I have a feeling that's exactly what goes on with the Bucks probably once a week. And just watching these playoffs, this is probably how it always goes. And then Middleton gets the blame as the inconsistent player when Giannis has so many empty possessions. It drives me nuts. So that's the most important thing that I took away from tonight's game. Giannis did a much better job of not doing that, not being so such a focal point in the first game, and I think it boded better for the offense. Tonight he kind of got back to his normal way of being featured, and it hurt them. It hurt them quite a bit. So there were some other things out there that I wanted to pay attention to, but that's just irking the hell out of me, man. And I knew it would going into these playoffs, which is why I kept telling you guys I didn't want to see Milwaukee here. This is exactly what I was talking about. So, yeah, man. By the way, me walking around in the dark, it helps me think, for those who are wondering why the hell I'm doing that. It's how I am sometimes. But anyway, so with that being said, now we got Game 3, headed back to Milwaukee. As everyone always says, the old cliche saying, the home team took care of business. They won the first 2 games at home. Series doesn't start till somebody loses at home. So I expect the Milwaukee Bucks to take advantage of the fact that the Phoenix Suns are shorthanded, go back into that arena that they have there with that green all around, get that Valley energy out of their system, get it back to feeling like a Milwaukee series for themselves in terms of the ambiance and how it feels. Get that Milwaukee feeling back. Home cooking will be very good for Giannis. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win Game 3 because they have to. It's that simple. I think they're going to win that game because they have to. And Budenholzer, I think he's going to look at the tape and he's going to make a decision. And I think ownership needs to as well. Everyone has committed to Giannis. $220 million, 5 years. He's your guy. But just because he's your guy does not mean at all that he has to be the guy you live and die with. That he has to be the guy featured more than someone else. No, this is one of those unique opportunities for that to not be the case and for that superstar to still be a superstar. Because I don't think that he can't do what he does if he's not featured. Because look at it like this. The stuff that you're asking him to do, he's failing at. When you give him the ball in these half-court settings, he's failing in these situations. He's not succeeding in these. So if you remove these plays where this happens, it increases his efficiency. Because he's not doing the stuff that's ultimately turning the ball over and this, that, and the third that's hurting the team. None of that's happening. So once again, broken record Brandon, you know how I get down. Feature someone else. Feature Middleton, Feature Holiday. And I promise you'll get back in this series. So that's what I got to say, man. Congratulations to the Phoenix Suns. With that being said, I kind of gave more energy to the Milwaukee Bucks because they frustrate the heck out of me. But the Suns played a fantastic game tonight, took care of business. Chris Paul, like I said, 6 turnovers, too much. But we did see some great things out of the rest of the Phoenix Suns, particularly Mikal Bridges. This was his night tonight. And without what he did out there, they don't win. So, game ball to Mikal Bridges. Game 2 in the books. Game 3 is in 2 days. I'll be back at you guys very soon. Thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF44, and I'm out.